Hello YouTube family, James Green, short series Shenanigans. So this is going to be episode number 1 of we're going to be building an adapter to install a power draw bar. Okay, now I picked this up back at the John Saunders NYCNC open house, Saunders Machine Works 2016 second annual. Traded for this from someone, so because it's hard to reach, I picked up a spacer at the Summer Bashes last year from a fellow YouTube contributor, Andrew Padaka, and it's worked great because I've been able to get a lot of work height. So this would normally mount really easy on a variable speed Bridgeport. So I'll make sure to get the camera you guys can see here. But because on this older J-Head Series 1, you have the front gear, back gear set up here. And so with that moving around, you have to create a standoff for it. So it did come with a special drawbar because that is the star pattern that is actually on the inside of this. This is actually pretty good. This is, I didn't realize it at the time, but when I got to checking, this is actually one of the really good Kurt Manufacturing Bridgeport. It's got the cover for it. I've got it put back over there, but it's the really nice one. So I've tested it. That's going to get changed. This is actually going to get mounted. The control panel will actually be mounted right next to the power switch right above it. So also something neat. You guys know me. I have an American rotary phase converter there in the background, 80X series. I love it. So one thing, again, I love these things. They're awesome. They're great. There was something, and if you're crowded like me, because you see back there, at times it's hard for me to navigate, and I have to make sure whenever I, use either this or this, that these tables are out of the way between the surface grinder and the mill. But having to go back over here and reach was a little bit of a pain. So I contacted Chris Favel at American Rotary, and they had a now they have a wireless and a wired. I went ahead and got the wired one. He sent it to me, and I used way bigger wire than what it needed, because I had some extra laying around, and I just went ahead and taped it up there. So it makes it really handy. They tell you in the directions. It's a really easy install. I will say this: you need 6 wires total. If you have 6 12-gauge wires and they have to be separate colors, it's real easy to follow. You just basically you end up leaving that one in the run position, and this one right here you can reach over and just, and then you're good to go. So it makes it handy instead of having to navigate. So this is going to be a busy area. We're going to have our power for the rotary phase converter, the power for the mill, and the power drawbar. So it's going to be a busy area, but this is already set up where it's going to mount directly to the back of this bracket. So there we go. So I don't know how many videos this is going to be. This is going to be an interesting build. I've seen lots of ways to do this. I've looked at a lot of videos on YouTube. I know John Saunders, NYCCNC, he has a kit he actually sells for these. But since I've already got this, and I've was thinking of ways to, hey, how am I going to build this? How am I going to put it up? Sorry, doing some machine earlier and I got all my glasses. So I recently did some trading with a local veteran. His name is Chris Smith. Chris, he's a great guy. He's friends on social media, and he doesn't have a YouTube channel, but he likes to do knife making, woodworking, stuff like that. You guys know me. I've done a lot of woodworking on stuff, and I had some exotic woods, hardwoods, and I did some trading. And in return, he gave me a piece of aluminum tubing that is 6-inch diameter. It's 6 inches long, and the OD here is, or the ID actually, is approximately 4-inch-ish. Again, this is extruded. I went ahead and I put it in the 4-jaw. We know this isn't cylindrical on the outside. It's within 5 thou. It's actually oblong. But what we're going to do is we're going to actually face this off. He's had this, bouncing around at his house for a while, and we're going to actually, machine this down the outside. We're going to dress it up. We're going to dress up the bore. This is going to be bored out inside for a ways to get everything to fit. We're going to flush it up on both ends. So this is going to be the chunk. It's 6061 T6 aluminum, 6x6 with a 4-inch bore. And so, I believe it, yeah. Anyway, so we're just going to go through the motions here, and we're going to adapt this to it. So we're going to be using typically on aluminum you want to use your higher speeds, high speed steel with a positive rake or an insert that has a positive rake. So we'll go ahead, and I'm going to have you guys at the end of the lathe because that seems to be the best view for stuff like this, and we'll just go through it and we'll get started. And we're just going to make this up as we go, and just, there's always different ways to do things. So I'm literally, this is flying by the seat of my pants, as it were. I've got a general idea. I've already war gamed out some stuff. And so let's go ahead and get started. I'll go ahead and set you guys there, and we'll get the camera locked down here so it doesn't move or anything. And there we go. All right, first thing we're going to go ahead and do is I was just testing some tools, kind of see what'll work good. And I'm just using a CNMG 432 insert here. It's got a good chip breaker. I've used this on aluminum before, works great. So we're just going to dress the end down. We're actually going to go ahead and take this down a full inch on the diameter. Now, I could put this in the bandsaw and cut it all off, but you know what? I'll probably never use that for anything, but we're going to face off 1/2 inch on this side, and then I've got to leave some on the other end, and we'll just, I'm not too concerned about saving that part because it is not square on either end here. So we're just going to go ahead and sacrifice that into chips, and we're going to get started with it. Now we're running 755, and we're just going to go ahead and set up here. And we're going to hand feed this across. Back this up. I'm going to have to reset just a little bit. There we go. All right. Got through changing my bar and forgot to Alright. Now that we got that kind of cut, now we're going to go ahead and let it feed on its own. With this insert, we don't need any, and the speed, it's working well, and it's a good chip. I didn't need any cutting oil or anything. On some you do, but it's working great, getting a good finish. You can see we still got a little bit right there to go, which is quite a bit. Move down 50 thou. Now we know we got to get down to 5 inches because of how the length of the bar and how it sticks out of the top. So 5 inches plus or minus an 1/8 inch will actually get us where we need to be for this. Dial in another 50. Getting a really good chip. On this grizzly leg, the 755 speed works pretty good for doing aluminum. You're fast enough, you get enough shear force, you get a pretty good finish with the inserts that I found out. And when you want a real good finish on the outside, you can actually flip it over and go to 1255, and it works really well. We'll go ahead and let's go ahead and dress up the outside. There's no particular diameter on the outside, but I just want it cleaned up because let me get some of this out of the way here. I did the cleanup earlier today and re-oiled the lathe. Some of this. Alright, we're just going to clean up the outside, but we do have some dimensions on the inside we need to get to. So let me go ahead and back to normal here, loosen that up. And we're just going to go ahead and feed all the way down here and we'll get started. That's 0. We'll dial in 30. And that should clean everything up. Oh yeah. Got aluminum flying everywhere. If they would only invent an aluminum magnet, it's called a vacuum or a broom. All right, real good outside finish, and that's perfectly fine. That'll work. I'm not even gonna mess with that. I don't want it too super smooth, and I mean that's a pretty good. Let's see what we were feeding at there. Let's see. What are we? We are in 2E2, which is, or actually E2, which is, and we're cross feed 11 thou and 8/10 per revolution. That's per the chart over here. So that was a feed rate. It's got a good finish. I'm happy with that. So let's go ahead and we'll take what we need to as far as shortening up off the other end, but on this end, let's go ahead and bore it out. We'll get started with that. And we know we need to be at least on the ID for everything here. I've measured this and 5 inches, okay, because I'm going to have a little bit of a recess and set this back in on one end, and on the other end we need to be 5 inches so it can fit down over the whole moving mechanism. Matter of fact, let me double check and make sure that I don't miss anything or forget. My calipers. One thing, it's like I just had them sitting here getting ready for the video, and it's like, well, where did I set them? Probably right in front of you over here. Oh, there they are. They were just upside down on top of the lathe. All right, so we're going to go ahead and check the top up here real quick. All right, so we clear everything, and we're also going to be doing some milling to this because of your brake handle, and we're going to be doing some milling and making an open spot. So when this moves, there's going to be a slot, and I'm actually I'm going to create some tabs, and I'm going to end up welding them on. That's the game plan, because I don't want to pull this off and attach it from the inside. I thought about it, but I want to try to do it all from the top. So what I'll probably do, again, this is all fly by the seat of your pants, because how the brake and everything fastens in here, it creates a challenge. So probably what I'm going to end up doing is, because there's a little bit of a raised area over here where this brake fits in, and there's 3 bolts here, so there's going to be quite a bit of take it up here, measure where do I need to mill out, different things. So this is going to take a little bit. So to make sure we clear everything, yeah, we're going to go ahead and take it to 5 inches, which would be more than enough to give us a little room to wiggle. We don't want everything too tight around here. And so this is going to be literally make it up as you go, which sometimes those are the best projects, you know. If it were easy, everybody'd be doing it. But hopefully, this, by doing this, if you guys have a Bridgeport mill or you get one like this and you end up getting a drawbar, by doing all this and me documenting this, it'll give you guys a roadmap so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Again, what I'm doing here is just a different way of doing it. I happen to have the stock on hand, so if this turns out great in the end, then I mean, man, this is going to be awesome. So again, there's a lot of different ways to do stuff, and here we go. Let me get that locked down. All right, so we know we're going to go ahead and bore out 5 inches, and it doesn't have to be exact. We just need that big bore. Now, what I was thinking of on this, the game plan right now, but it's always subject to change because we have a 5-inch diameter here on the bottom, and this is actually going to be fastened. It's going to be drilled and tapped. And since we have quite a bit of material, and I'm not going to put the cover on this, I'm going to leave it open. It's got a big cover that fits on here. What I may do is do a little bit of counter bore, so it's not just sitting up on the top, but it's recessed. So I'll probably do that. We'll probably recess it or counter bore it this depth here, and bore it out so this fits. So we'll probably end up doing that. That sounds like a good game plan. I think I'll do that. So, but first we got to bore everything out to 5 inches, period. Actually, let's see, 5 and the other. So let's go ahead and machine where we're going to mount that on the other side. When we flip it, we'll machine to where it's going to fit over the top of the lathe, or I mean the mill. Let's go ahead and break this edge here. So let's just do this. Yeah. Again, that's some of the best things. Going through it, you guys know me and how I do things here. Let's just break this edge. Alright, so, and then we've got our boring bar here, so we're not going to have to really stick it out right now, and I've already pre-set up the height so I know it'll work. There we go. So we're just going to come in here. Alright, so we need let's go ahead and pull that lip off first. Now when we're boring, I'll throw a little bit of lube in there, which I like using WD-40 for working with aluminum, and I already have it handy. So let's get a rough measurement here of where we're at, and we'll do some uninteresting hole making, aka boring. Haha, I'll be here all week. Okay, so let me make sure we're 0, 0. And yes, these are left-hand calipers. I have people ask all the time, they're like, is that backwards? So we're 4-inch and 2.5 thou, which we'll just call it 4-inch, so we need to take out a whole inch. And this, we're only going to end up going, how deep do we need to go on this side? First off, I think what I am going to do is I'm going to make a cleanup pass through there and this first one, and so that way we have a nice clean cylindrical bore all the way through. If for any reason down the road we need to, in the engineering process, it's nice and clean. So this is only 380 thou, so we'll go 375 is what we'll go for the counter bore when we're out at 5-inch. But to start off with, let's go ahead and we'll dial in here, and we got to slow the feed rate way down. So let's get a good slow feed rate, because let's see, where are we at here? We're 11B right now. We said we were at 11. We'll just cut that in half by just going one click. There we go. All right, we went from 2 to 1, and there we go. So now we're only at 5. Well, call it 6 thou per rev. It's 5" or 5 thou and 9/10. We'll just call it 6 thou. Okay. All right. Get WD-40 ready. And we'll get the rest from the other side. So you grab your chip hook and you go straight into the bucket. Here we go. Smoking WD-40. Alright, so we'll get the rest from the other side when we lengthen the bar out, just because we need to pull more out. For right now, how deep did we go? We went in there approximately 1 3/4 inches, which is fine because we have the bar sticking out. Well, clearance. I can go a little bit more. Let's go a little bit more. Harden the head. I'm just going to feed this. Alright. That way I got as much as I could without having to move the bar around some more. Not the ideal chip that you want, but for what little bit we're doing here, it's going to work fine. So now, we're going to call that a finished diameter, or ID, for the main part, because we just want it, you know, again, this is extruded, it's not straight as we'd want it through everything. And we got a little bit of time left, we'll keep going here. So a lot of this stuff, you guys, you can get, we go take a break, and WD-40 on the glasses, got a lot of, let's get the garage door open here. That's smoked up, atomized WD-40. So if you hear noise, it's actually a pretty quiet garage door. It is a, I forget, a Chamberlain. It's got one of the belts. We'll let the air clear out. So, because I always like to give a shout out to my channel sponsor, guys and gals, All Industrial Tool Supply. They are a big sponsor of the bash. I mean, they gave some great prizes and stuff away. I've been in here grinding and working on stuff. They are in the process right now. This video is in November of 2016, right before Thanksgiving here, and they are in the process. They're really close to getting their web page up and going. So I know this video is going to be on YouTube for a long time. You guys are a small 8-man company in Huntington Beach, California. We know the other company. I'm not going to mention their name because their parent company is still in business. We used to all do business with them, but they kind of gave us small guys the middle finger, and now it's, you only get a discount if you spend $300-400, and they'll give you a Peasley 10%. These guys, small 8-man company in Huntington Beach, California. They got all the great stuff, the high name brands, Noga, even all the Edge technology stuff that Adam Booth sells on, well, sells or whatever. Not Adam Booth sells, but they're his channel sponsor. And I've actually had, and I love their stuff. He showed this this week. That little tool, you can get them from Edge Technologies. I've had that for several years. I love it. It's handy. It's for setting your tool height. He's got videos on his channel about it. I've showed it before. It's great stuff. But they've got all that stuff in here too. So you guys want to, they're a good source. I got the power feed from them for my Bridgeport, because it's not worth fixing the old power feeds unless you're just restoring a machine for historic purposes for about under 300 bucks shipped or around there. There you go. You've got a piece of quality equipment. You know, I've ended up putting the light on there that's flood coolant proof, oil proof, so I don't have to worry about that's what it's designed for. But you guys, they've got all the great stuff. I mean, name brands, import, you name it, the Noga parts. It's where I get everything from now, because it's one-stop shop. If I'm not getting it down here at my local auto parts store, anything else, I get it from them. And on a couple things, it might be a little bit higher by $1 or $2, but you know what? I know where money's going. So we're going to do some counter boring here. We got the garage door open. So it's not going to be anything super exciting. It's a lot of basic stuff. You guys know me on my channel. I want to show new and unique stuff. And in the next video, we'll go ahead and show, because I'm going to get some other things ready here, try to do some repositioning on camera. I might just leave it there, and we'll go ahead and continue on. I'm trying to think, what else have I got going on new that you guys haven't seen or done lately. If you do want to invest in something good, another type of coolant setup, if you guys are new to the hobby, these Noga mini misters. I've got mine set up over here. I'll show you guys real quick. Turn the light on. Now, I actually use this, move this over out of the way, and it's all set up here. You know, I just put a deal onto the end, and I plug it straight into the air, and on, off, and I actually took and mounted a little piece of metal. So it's your Noga mini mister. You can set it up, and I don't run Cool Mist. I actually use the same Monroe stuff that I use in my flood coolant, in my mill, everything. And that's this here. It's the Monroe Technology Astro Cut. Okay, and I get that at All Industrial as well too. I use a little cap full of this, literally a cap full, and I made this small, and I'll show you guys back here. This is something I just made up out of aluminum, and I painted it. And I haven't notched this out. I need to do that, but literally a cap full, and just add water, and it's got the siphon. It sets right down in there. I haven't notched it out yet, and then I mounted it and made it. So there you go. And so when I'm doing my grinding, it really helps. You want to keep stuff cool when you're grinding. And I also get all my surface grinding wheels from there. These Radiac ones, these have been working great. This one has been working great on stainless. I've used it, matter of fact, I've used it on every metal so far, and you just got to make sure you dress your wheels properly. They've got all the different ones, but you can see we've kind of done a few little bumps and things right there. I do need to build my cover for out here. I haven't done it yet because my welder's out being warrantied. I exceeded the duty cycle on my plasma cutter. That was my fault, so it's being warrantied right now, but we're going to get that fixed. But I figured I'd show you guys those things. All Industrial, I mean, they're just handy and they give good prices. Again, when you know where your money's going, that's where you want to spend it. So we're going to continue on in part 2, and I'm just going to show you the counterbore setup. Having fun here. This is going to be the completion of episode 1 for the Bridgeport power drawbar project is what we'll call it. So like I say at the end of every video, and I truly do mean it, guys, take care of yourself and take care of your family, because at the end of the day, you and your family is all you got. If you guys have any questions, hit me up at my public email address, eagledustoff37@gmail.com. I'm on Instagram, Twitter. If you guys have any questions on Facebook, reach out, friend me. I'll be more than happy to answer them. Give me a thumbs up. You guys spread the word about my channel. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.